episode number 4 of My Trucking Life. Truth, Trucking, and Tribulations from the Trucker's Table. We last left off in episode 3 with a tragedy. Someone I cared deeply for had passed away due to an automobile accident in which I was driving. And that was very heartbreaking, hard for me to deal with. It sent my life off into a weird tantrum, that led me to where I am today. So I'm a better person today, I hope. Anyway, we're going to move forward to the future. Well, not necessarily the future, further on up the road from where that was. Okay, so when we last left off, I went to work with Charles Patterson Trucking in Kinston, Alabama. That was my first trucking job with a CDL driver's license. My cousin had came into the store and said, because I worked at a convenience store right across the street from where the Pilot truck stop is right now. If you ever go by there, you'll see I think it's still there. It looks like an old Chevron, but it used to be a Shell station when I worked there. But anyway, I worked there in a convenience store. My cousin had stopped by. He was truck driving, and he told me about this man over in Alabama who would hire me, even though I didn't have a CDL. He said, just go get your learner's permit, and this guy will hire you. He's desperate. He needs drivers. So I said, okay, I'll think about it. So I decided to go ahead and get my CDL, my learner's permit, and I went over there and filled out an application. He asked me if I could pass a urinalysis, piss test. I was like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So he hired me. And my first run was out to California, because this is what he did. He ran California back to South Florida, back and forth, back and forth. We haul frozen chicken out, bring back produce. And so my first run out was with a guy from Cairo, Georgia. He was a little bit not quite right. And anyway, we had a run going out to California. I want to say the guy's name was Tracy. It's hard to remember. It's been so long ago, because this was back in 1997. So we get in an old Western Star, and he starts off driving from Kinston, right? So we get out to Jennings, Louisiana, right before you get there at exit 64, where there's a Walmart and everything right there. So he pulls off on the shoulder of the road, and he goes, well, you ain't gonna learn nothing sitting over there. Get over here and let's see what you can do. So I get over in the driver's seat, and I start driving, going through the gears, everything's like a pro, And he's watching me, and I can kind of look out the corner of my eye and see he's watching me, And so we get a little ways on down the road, closer to Lake Charles, and he goes, did you go to truck driving school or something? I said, nope. He said, and this is your first truck driving job? And I was like, yep. He said, okay, well, you're doing pretty good. Just keep your eyes on the road and da-da-da and all this. So I drove for a pretty good ways until we got out into Texas somewhere. He took over again. I jumped back and got some sleep. We kept driving. And we were running as a team, not as a driver-trainer kind of thing. Because back in the day, it was paper logs. Nobody really, you get away with stuff like that. So we ran out there, delivered the chicken. I'll never forget it. Coming out to L.A., I was like, wow, look at this. Because I'd never been, I've been to California, but it was when I was in the Army. Fort Irwin, we went out and did desert training, but I never got to go to downtown L.A., So I'm in downtown L.A., the Hollywood sign, all this different stuff. It's just blowing my mind, And then we went up and picked up some produce and stuff, and started heading back to Alabama. And I can remember we stopped off in Fort Stockton at a McDonald's there. And we went in and got about to eat. He's talking to me, and he's just, man, I can tell he's not all there. He's got some issues, mostly with his father. So I just kind of went along, yeah, And we got back to Alabama, and I thought we were going to take the load down to Florida, but he was like, nah, he had to take some time off, so he went home. So I asked Charles what he wanted me to do, and he said, well, I'm going to put you with this other guy. He's retired out of the military. So I met up with this guy, a retired lieutenant colonel from the military. Me and him got along like peas and carrots. He was used to people calling him sir, and I was used to saying it. So it was like, yes sir, no sir, and because he was an officer and I was a enlisted man, so it worked out perfect. So both of us being prior Army guys, and so we ran back, same thing, frozen chicken out, produce back, and we got back to the yard, and we had the option to take it to Florida, but he's like, no, I'm going to put y'all on another run back out. So we went back out again, same thing, chicken out, produce back, and we got back, and he's like, man, you're doing great. He said, you need to get your regular CDL. So he took me over to Washington and Votech, over to Chipley. He knew the guy that was the teacher over there at the truck driving school. He said, he'll put you through the road course, he'll sign off on your paperwork, you take it up there to the DMV, you get your regular CDL, easy peasy. Sure enough, did the pre-trip, did some backing, did a road test. He signed off and went and got my CDL. And me and the colonel made a couple more trips out to California, and I guess he just got burned out, was ready to take some time off. I didn't want to take any time off. I wanted to stay on the road, stay gone, stay away from the house. So I stayed gone, And keep in mind, when I went to work with Charles Patterson, I weighed about 250, 260, So, after a couple months, me and the colonel running together, he took some time off, and Charles was like, hey, I got this guy, I need you to train him. I'm like, what? Yeah, show this guy the rope, show him what he's doing and everything. And I was like, okay. So, that's what I did. I went out with a guy and showed him a few things and what we do and how it works and everything. Come back. And maybe one or two runs with that guy, and then I think he quit or something. He just couldn't handle being gone all the time. So Charles put me with this other guy. He said, show this guy. He's a good guy. You'll like him. His name was Kelly Dean. I'll never forget Kelly Dean. He was a cool cat. Little bitty skinny fella. He kind of reminded me of Luke Perry in the movie 8 Seconds, because he loved rodeoing. That's what he did. He loved rodeoing and wore cowboy boots, cowboy hat, all that stuff. Just like a regular old cowboy. He was right there from. He lived around Sampson, Alabama. Had a little son and wife and everything, and he hated being gone. He did. I could tell he hated it, but he did good. He had common sense. He was smart. He was easy to train. And so he caught on real fast. Good driver, good head on his shoulders, just an all-around great guy, and I enjoyed driving with him and working with him. And we would go out to California and come back, and I told Charles, I said, we're going to run this down to South Florida. That way we get all the money, instead of, because we get charged, some of the money we get taken away if we dropped it on the yard. So we would come back, and when we came through Alabama, I would drop off Kelly and tell him, say, hey man, go to the house, spend the weekend with your family. I'll run this load on down to South Florida, come back, pick you up, and we'll head back out. And that's what I did. I did that a few times so he could spend time with his family at home. Never told Charles, because Charles, they don't have no way of knowing anyway. So I'd do that, and that way Kelly could, spend some time with his family. I didn't have a family, so I just stayed gone all the time, And anyway, we did that for a good little while, and Kelly got missing his family too much and ended up getting more of a local job, But me and him stayed in contact, and he'll come up later and down the road. But anyway, we move on. So I get this other guy. Charles wants me to train him, And this guy, I don't know about this guy. He didn't have all his marbles or something. He damn sure didn't have no common sense. So we go out, we get out to Texas where it's just open road, and I let him drive some, and he did okay. He didn't kill us that time. So we get out, and we delivered in L.A., and then we had to go down to Chula Vista, pick up a load of tomatoes this down there north of San Diego. So we go down to Chula Vista, we pick up tomatoes, we start heading back, and I told him, I said, you done got some rest. I'm going to give out, because I did all the driving around L.A. and getting us down to Chula Vista and all that stuff, getting us loaded. So I was letting him drive from there back to Casa Grande, and then I was going to drive, some. So we're going along on I-8. I'm back there in the bunk asleep, you know. And all of a sudden, man, I'm in a dead sleep. And next thing I know, I'm on the floorboard between the passenger seat and the driver's seat, hollering at him, hit the gas, hit the gas. What happened was he got off on an exit. It was pitch black dark at night, thinking it was just a regular exit. Well, it was a roundabout exit. So he didn't realize that. And he almost rolled us over. So he threw me out of the bunk. I landed up there between the seats, and I knew exactly what was going on. You know, my uncle, he had told me all this kind of stuff, you know, and this is what I was talking about before. My uncle saved my life, and he wasn't even there with me. Just because of what he taught me and trained me and everything, from us just talking and everything over the years. You know, he always told me, he said, man, if you ever feel that truck starting to roll over on you, he said, grab that handbrake, pull down on it, and step on the gas. He said, your trailer will sit down, and the truck will pull it on around, and you'll be okay most times. So that's what I did. I reached up, snatched the handbrake. I told him, gas on it, gas on it. He did, and we just went off in the ground a little bit, but we stayed upright. Man, we got pulled into a convenience store. I told him, I said, go get some coffee, man. I'm going to stretch my legs a little bit. Man, I got back up there in that driver's seat, got ready to go, and I told him, I said, go ahead and get you some rest, man. I feel good. We were fixing to swap out anyway. I would drive a little while. That was just before Casa Grande. I drove from there to Kinston, Alabama. And if you don't know how far that is, get you a map and look. That's a long way. But every time he was wanting to drive, I was like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm going to drive a little bit further. We got back to Kinston. I told Charles, I said, that's it. I ain't riding with that boy no more. He almost killed me. He ain't got no common sense. So I think he let him go because he didn't want a responsibility of it. So he said, what you going to do now? He said, you don't want to train nobody. I said, I don't know. I said, I got somebody in mind I might can run with. And so the next guy that I teamed up with to run team with back and forth to California is somebody you will not believe. I can tell you, but you ain't going to believe me. So I tell you what I want you to do. Hang around for episode number 5 of My Trucking Life. Truth, Trucking, and Tribulations from the Trucker's Table. And I'll tell you in the next episode who that epic co-driver was. You're not going to believe it. You're going to want to see this. This is going to be a really good episode. Make sure you come back for it because it was fun. He was one of my funnest co-drivers I ever had. And you're going to enjoy it. I promise you. So come on back for that episode and we'll talk about it. And until then, thank you so much for watching and liking, subscribing, leaving comments. I'm enjoying doing this series. I'm sorry this episode went a little bit long. It's just when you get to telling the stories, it's hard to stop. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment. Let me know. And if you're not subscribed, hey, subscribe, click the bell. And then every time we upload a video, you'll know about it. So anyway, thank you. And y'all be safe. And I'm glad you enjoyed the video. All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.